Hello and welcome to the Daily Collegian's Week 3 Penn State football preview. My name is John Stuetz. I'm joined by John McGonigal, Anna Orso, and unfortunately Stephen Petrella, our fourth beat partner, couldn't join us today. But we're excited to look forward to a couple of key points that we should be expecting when Penn State and Bill O'Brien face off with Coach O'Brien's old boss in George O'Leary and the Central Florida squad this Saturday at 6 p.m. at Beaver Stadium. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys how you're doing today. I'm going to ask for a one-word response that's preferably a completely made-up word. Johnny.
McGiblets.
McGiblets. Fair enough, Anna.
Shibbity bop bop bop.
Shibbity bop bop bop. I'll go with redonkulous. Feeling redonkulous today. All right, I'm glad we got that out of the way. First off, though, we're going to take a look at a couple different things that Penn State should be expecting. Penn State fans should be expecting at the game this weekend. J-Mac, you got a chance to look at Allen Robinson, a couple of the receivers. They've been playing pretty well against Eastern Michigan, obviously. Allen Robinson, another 100-yard game. And what are some of the things that Penn State fans should be expecting this weekend?
Yeah, well, we actually talked to wide receivers coach Dan Hickson today, and he said that Allen Robinson is perhaps one of the best receivers that he's ever dealt with, maybe even the best. And Hickson's been around for a while, coaching wide receivers for over 20 years. Guys like Dwayne Bowe, Michael Clayton, Antoine Randall, Santana Moss, Stevie Johnson, all these names, and he said that Robinson could be the best out of all of them. And, Robinson has been playing well. I mean, in 1.5 games worth of play, after sitting out the first half of Syracuse, he's compiled 262 receiving yards, 14 receptions, and 2 scores. It's apparent that he can hit on the big play. But this weekend, I'm looking to see Christian Hackenberg take advantage of what UCF's defense gives them.
Right.
And with that, I would expect a lot of short, quick hit like screens, and just see what Robinson can do in space, and along with the other receivers too, because against Eastern Michigan, Penn State had 10 guys catch at least one ball. So look for a lot of options, but keep an eye on Allen Robinson once again this weekend.
Absolutely. Excellent. And one of the things that I got a chance to look at this week was Penn State's running game. And obviously, Zach Swinak was the number one guy the past 2 weeks after 2 100-yard games from both Akil Lynch and Bill Belton. Coach O'Brien decided to switch things up and put the dreaded "or" in between all three of them. So that means, that means we don't know who's going to get most of the carries. My guess is Zach Swinak will still get the majority of them. But what remains is whether Penn State will be able to take advantage of Central Florida's rush defense as much as they did Eastern Michigan, who I believe was one of the worst rush defenses. The worst rush defense last season. So obviously Penn State will have its hands full heading into this week. One thing that will help them if the running game can get going will probably be their third down efficiency. And I believe you were the one who looked at Penn State's third down, I guess we should say complete inefficiency. I mean, how bad has Penn State been on third down so far?
It's been terrible. They went 2 for 26 in the first 2 games. That's a 7% conversion rate, and that leaves them dead last in the FBS. And, like I wrote this week, there's not a whole lot that Penn State's appeared dead last in the FBS, and this is one of those things. And I think that we've seen that the problems don't lie with third down. The problems lie with mistakes at the line of scrimmage and penalties on first and second down, and that's putting them at third and long almost every time. If they can improve upon that, they're going to see a lot more success this week.
Absolutely. That's something that they're probably going to need to do, especially with a tougher Central Florida squad coming in. Penn State's gotten 2 relatively easy ones. Syracuse is pretty close. Eastern Michigan blew them out 45-7 so far. But Central Florida, not going to be your typical non-BS blowout. At least we're not expecting it.
I think the line opened at 3.5. So it's
right.
Yeah. So it's going to be closer than the first 2 games.
Absolutely.
One would think.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the things you saw from Central Florida?
I think obviously the biggest thing with Central Florida, if you've done any research on them at all, is that you have to understand that their quarterback is crazy good. This kid's a junior. His name is Blake Bortles. He hasn't thrown an interception in 217 passes. He went 30 for 43 in the first 2 games, 528 yards. He's very good. I was just telling Johnny earlier that Matt Miller, who is a NFL draft analyst for Bleacher Report, says this kid is better than Alabama's A.J. McCarron and Georgia's Aaron Murray. So obviously, huge words coming about this quarterback. And he knows how to work with his receivers. He's got 2 receivers in Rennell Hall and Breshard Perryman, who these guys know how to read defensive backs. They know how to work with their quarterback. Penn State has to contain Blake Bortles or they're going to have some serious trouble. If they give him any time to sit in the pocket and make decisions, he's going to make big plays. He's going to make explosive plays, and Penn State's defense is going to have a lot of trouble with him. But if they can work to contain him, I think that they have a shot. So they have the tools. They just need to execute it.
Absolutely. I think that's going to be the key heading into this week as well. And with that, we'll probably go through some of our predictions heading into the week so far. Penn State has obviously won both their first games. So far, we are all 2-0, I believe.
Yes.
And we can start off this week's predictions with you down here,
Sure.
Anna.
Yeah. I think these teams are very evenly matched. I think the game changer, honestly, is going to be that this is a night game at Beaver Stadium on a Saturday, and it's a student whiteout. The last game UCF played, there was some 40,000 people in the stands. They're going to more than double that this weekend. And for that reason, I have Penn State coming up on top, 27-24.
All right. And for me, I see Central Florida as a team that's coming in here with, albeit 2 wins over very insignificant teams in the grand scheme of things. These 2 teams had 4 combined wins in all of the entire 2012 season. But when you have a team that's completely blown out their first 2 opponents, they have Bortles in that quarterback and what you said. And I think Hackenberg, just seeing the way that he looked a little bit scared in the first couple of series in Beaver Stadium last week. I think in a night game, as you mentioned, in front of that many fans, and if he does come out slow like he did, I don't think Central Florida is a team that is going to allow for that and still have Penn State win. So I have Penn State actually losing this one, dropping their first one of the season, 24-20. I believe that Coach O'Leary is going to come out on top over his old graduate assistant and assistant coach, and that Penn State's going to get their first loss of the season.
Well, I have Penn State winning 27-20. I do think it's going to be a lot closer, obviously, but it's going to be a closer game than last week, that's for sure. But expect UCF to come out firing. Like you mentioned, this isn't a team, at least offensively, that's going to let you, skate by defensively and not make you pay for it. Bortles is a great quarterback. He has the tools to make things happen. And last game, one thing I noticed is that the first 4 first downs that Eastern Michigan had, they reel off like 5, 6, 7 yards at a time. And so with Penn State getting into third and shorts on defense, it doesn't look good. And I feel like UCF's going to capitalize that on early in the game. But Penn State comes back, wins 27-20. At least my prediction. So.
All right, fair enough. We shall see. And that'll do it for us here from the Daily Collegian's newsroom. Be sure to follow us on Twitter this weekend. Follow along with our updates. Our Twitter handle is PSUFootBlog. And other than that, have a safe trip, anyone traveling to the game this weekend, and enjoy your weekends.